What's up everybody, this is Matty Mo, and today we'll be taking a look at the Moto 360, which was one of the hottest Android Wear devices of 2014. Now when Android Wear smartwatches were first being released, the majority of them were bulky, square, and didn't look like something you'd want to wear on your wrist. In short, they were really ugly. Along came the Moto 360, which was the first smartwatch to actually be round, and a lot of people got really excited. The overall design was gorgeous compared to the competition, and a lot of people couldn't wait to get their hands on it. After the product was originally reviewed, the consensus was that the Moto 360 was the best Android Wear smartwatch at the time, but it did have a few design flaws of its own. Now that it's been 7 months later since its initial release, let's take a look at some of those complaints and see if it's still worth buying. First, let's start off with the battery life, which is one of the biggest complaints. Originally, the Moto 360 had troubles making it through the day, especially if you're doing things like using Google Now, Google Maps, and constantly checking your watch for notifications. If you left ambient mode on, which keeps the screen on at all times but at a lower brightness, you would find yourself having to charge up midday. But now that it's been updated to Android 5.0 Lollipop and Motorola's fixed a few bugs, the battery life is much better, and you should have no issues being able to make it through the whole day without having to charge your smartwatch. Now next up is the leather strap. If you've been wearing this thing for 7 months, the leather strap will get extremely worn out. Now this is not a problem with the strap itself, it's just the way leather works. Over time, leather tends to deteriorate and it gets that little bit of a crackling feeling. Now the best thing about it is that the Motorola 360 has interchangeable bands. So if you want a new leather strap, you can always go out and buy a new one. And if leather is not your thing, you always have the option to purchase a metal band. Since we're talking about bands, this brings me on to my next topic, which is the way the watch actually sits physically on your wrist. First, this is a bulky watch, which I think looks great on most people who have thicker arms. But for females with thinner wrists, the watch will look overbearing. The other problem is that it doesn't sit nicely on the top of your wrist. It's the way the straps are connected. Most straps will move inward, allowing the bottom of the watch to sit snug against the wrist. The two connection points where you connect the straps prevent the straps from moving inward and prohibit the watch to sit flat. Because of this issue, the watch feels like it's always loose. So up next is the display, which is a 1.56-inch LCD panel and comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection. It has a resolution of 320 by 290 and a pixel density of 205 ppi. Now that being said, a lot of people felt the screen quality was subpar, and for the most part it was. The pictures looked okay, the contrast was fine, but certain app icons and text, you kind of just started noticing the pixels. However, because they opted for an LCD panel, overall outdoor visibility was good. Another complaint was the little black bar at the bottom of the screen, which is used to house the ambient light sensor. Certain reviewers were complaining that this did not make a perfect circle and looked like part of the screen was missing. For the most part, I barely noticed it. It really wasn't an issue and it won't take away from viewing images and messages on your screen. So I really wouldn't worry about this. So how does the watch actually perform? The Moto 360 has a TI OMAP 3 chipset, which is a really old chipset from back in 2011. Now for a small watch like the 360, this would be typically fine, but people did find the watch to lag originally, especially when looking at notifications and accessing certain parts of the menu. Now that the device has been updated to Android 5.0 Lollipop and Motorola has fixed a lot of bugs, this has become a moot issue. However, I do fear that another big upgrade down the road will make the watch slow again. Finally, I just want to mention one more thing before wrapping this up. In order to turn on the display to see the time, you had to either tap the display, push the button on the side, or gesture your wrist towards your face so that you activate the gyroscope so that it can detect that you're looking at your watch. Now, I found the gesture you had to make sometimes had to be greatly exaggerated in order for the display to turn on. Now, I'm not sure if this is a sensor issue with the Moto 360 or if this is common among most Android Wear smartwatches in general. So would I actually still buy this watch? No, I probably would not, and it'd be hard for me to recommend it to other people. It was a great deal when it came out 7 months ago, and if you're still rocking one today, you should be totally happy with it. The problem is there are too many new Android Wear smartwatches to choose from now, and there's a lot more coming on the market with newer designs and better specs, especially for the same price point. Now, if the price dropped from $250 US or $280 Canadian to below $200, then I would suggest picking one up, as I think it makes a great introduction to Android Wear. So let me know what you guys think of the Moto 360. Would you still purchase one, or has any other smartwatch caught your attention? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please feel free to do so. And I'll see everybody in the next episode.